CNBC TV 18, celebrating 16 years of business leadership.
It's been a dull Christmas Eve on Dalal Street, with the SENSEX and the NIFTY ending flat, but top fund managers predict fireworks in 2016. Expect the NIFTY to jump at least 15% in the next 12 months. Low volumes on Christmas Eve cast a mellow mood across global markets. Europe is stuck in a tight range. Crude prices stabilize at just about $37 a barrel, but a spike in US employment brings some joy. Defense and economic ties figure high on the agenda as Prime Minister Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin begin bilateral talks. Reliance Defense inks a deal with Russian defense giant Almazan-Tate to upgrade air defense systems in India. Women drivers, VIPs, consulates, emergency vehicles and vehicles running on CNG are exempt from the odd-even rule in Delhi. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal says he and his family will not fall under the exempted category.
Don't hype the issue up so much.
Former TRAI Chairman Rahul Kullar says the furor over call drops makes a mountain out of a molehill. Tells CNBC TV 18 that both the government and telecom operators are acting in a knee-jerk fashion.
The intent has been there to move it in the right direction. Unfortunately, we've not seen that action actually take place.
Microsoft India Chairman Bhaskar Pramnik says lingering tax uncertainties leaves a cloud over India's investment climate. Suggests India set up a forward-looking department to take the right decisions. That's another CNBC TV 18 exclusive. Suspended BJP MP Kirti Azad reaches out to the four old men of the Bharatiya Janata Party, even as Finance Minister Arun Jaitley takes to his blog to attack the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party. Says both of them have reduced the level of political discourse in the country. Also on the show tonight, we'll tell you how corporate India is coming together to help rebuild Chennai as it recovers from the massive floods as part of the Network 18 initiative, Rebuilding Chennai. And in our ongoing series, What's Ailing Rural India? Today we tell you how illegal sand mining has created a havoc across Bundelkhand. Well, it's that time of the year when the entire neighborhood is decked up to welcome Santa Claus, and everyone's decked up in their best festive gear, including Nayantara. Hi, Nayantara. Ho, 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 Shireen. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. Well, plenty. I have a long list. I'll tell you through the course of India.
I want more leave.
You want more leave. All right. We'll think about it in 2016. Well, we'll get you all of that and more coming up for you over the next 1 hour on India Business Hour. But first up, let's start with the action on Dalal Street. Most dealers seem to have packed their bags and they've gone off on a Christmas break, or so it seems. Today, both the NIFTY and the SENSEX saw range-bound day of trade, while the NIFTY managed to hold on to the 7,850 mark. The SENSEX ended just 0.1% lower. It was commodity stocks which managed to buck the trend today, and they ended in green. But look at that, absolutely flat as far as our markets are concerned. Oil prices, though, have stabilized, with both Brent and NYMEX trading closer to $37 a barrel. This on the back of falling inventories as well as the lifting of the ban on US crude exports. So oil now, Brent at 37.77, NYMEX close to about 38, higher by about 1% or so. But let's get back to talk about our markets, and this is the big CNBC TV 18 exclusive. They managed close to 50,000 crore rupees of assets under management between the four of them, so what they say about the markets can never be taken lightly. 2015, as we all know, was not a great year for Dalal Street, but here we are at the cusp of a new year, a new beginning, and as 2015 draws to a close, Lata caught up with Sunil Singhania of Reliance Mutual Fund, Prashant Jain of HDFC Equity, S. Narain of ICICI Prudential, and last but not the least, Navneet Munot of SBI SBI Mutual Fund to get them to predict where they see the Nifty same time next year. And what they've had to say will definitely put a smile on the faces of all investors. Take a look.
Some guesses on where is the Nifty same time next year?
Then plus 15 to 20%.
Okay, that's very positive. Will FIs return?
I think they will.
The domestic funds have been excellent. Your industry itself has grown to what now, 13 lakh crore? By the end of 2016?
I think equity inflows should do extremely well over the next few years. I think they should continue to sustain and they will actually grow over time in my opinion.
Local investor will keep the faith?
I think so, because equities represent the best performing asset class, and I think slowly the understanding of equities is showing an improvement.
What's your guess, Sunil? Nifty, December 2016?
We might see a new high.
New high. Okay, that's at least a positive. That's more than 10%, even if we were to go by 9,000. Will FIs return?
I don't think they've exited. It's been a, sort of a strategic reallocation.
It's been a net, what, 2 billion this year?
But, Lata, you have to remember, there have been some oil sovereign funds who have to manage their balance sheet because of the big deficit. And it's fine, we are saving $7-8 billion in terms of monthly oil bill going down, and even we have to give them back their $1 billion, we still have $7 billion left. So, I don't think FIs have left, and they would definitely be there.
Has the SIP culture caught on enough?
Definitely.
Do you think this 13 trillion becomes 18 trillion?
See, if you see again this last year, we have seen flows coming in every month. It's not that we have seen flows coming in 2-3 months and they have not come in. And I think that is where the SIPs come into play.
Okay. Naren, Nifty in a year?
No, I've been recommending hybrid funds for 1 year and equity funds for 3 years.
Okay.
So,
all right, 2 years.
2 years? No, I don't give number targets. I believe that if people invest in equity funds, come in with a 3-year view in 2016. And if you want shorter periods of time, invest in hybrid funds, you will get good risk-adjusted returns.
Okay, fine. Do you think the SIP culture has caught on? What will you see your industry as? Since you were the person who told me that it is not banks necessarily, but pools of, saving companies is what you will look at. What will the mutual fund industry look like?
I think clearly we have been trying to give as a good investor experience, and as long as we keep giving investors a good investment experience, I think the challenge for the industry would come on how to manage size. I don't think there's any challenge of collecting money, and we have a huge scope to collect money as an industry.
Finally, Navneet, what returns in 2016?
Difficult to predict 1 year, but yeah, one can guess. Looking at the valuations and the earning growth, 15% should be reasonable, but you don't get returns in a linear fashion. So over the next couple of years, it should be 12 to 15%, which on a risk-adjusted basis relative to other asset classes look very attractive.
So India's top managers, their consensus that 2016 will be a better year for our markets. We could see at least a 15% uptick for the Nifty by the end of 2016. And we've got a list of shows lined up for you over the long weekend. So tune into CNBC TV 18 to get 16 mid-cap ideas for 2016 from our star stock pickers. 4 biggest fund managers give their outlook for 2016, and all of that comes up tomorrow at 8 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. And then we have Taking Stock, which will make you trade ready for the next week. So watch out for the market marathon this Christmas weekend. Pleasantries are over, and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is down to serious business with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The two sides are holding bilateral talks in Moscow. The Prime Minister has also met with a whole host of Russian business leaders. On the radar, 2 important agendas. First, the Indian government is looking to join hands with Russia to build the 200 Kamov helicopters back home as part of the government's Make in India campaign, amongst other things. The two governments have also set up an ambitious plan to take bilateral trade to $30 billion within the next 10 years. In fact, both now addressing the media in Moscow. Let's listen in. And our colleague Anchal Bora joins us now from Moscow. Anchal, we can see Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Modi speak to the media there on the issues that have been addressed by both sides. What is lined up?
A guard of honor, a wreath-laying ceremony, a CEO conference, and deals worth billions of dollars on the table. When we talk of India and Russia and agreements between the two countries, defense agreements are right at the top. Come off 2 to 60 choppers, 200 of those would be jointly produced, 140 by India and 60 by Russia. And this was an offer made by Russia, we've learned through our highly placed sources, and Russia is not shying away from sharing technology, but they aren't shying away from asking India to buy more and more defense equipment from them. We've also heard that India is going to be buying 5 air defense missile systems, S-400s. Now China has already bought 4, and if India buys these, India would be the second country to buy this air defense shield from the Russians. Nuclear submarine is something that there has been some difference on. Russia wants to sell India a Kula-class submarine and says that the Chinese have nothing as good as this, but Indians want the top version, and the Russians don't want to share the top version's technology with India because that, they say, is their defense against the United States.
Anshul, thanks very much for joining us. We will keep coming back to you, but as Anshul was pointing out, defense is going to be a big area of focus. Reliance Defense has joined hands with the Russian missile manufacturer to upgrade air defense systems in India. Rituparna Bhuyan joins us now with more details. Ritu, Reliance Defense, of course, inking that first agreement. That's the big announcement that's come in from Moscow today. Take us through the details.
Well, it seems Reliance Defense is celebrating Christmas and, two big-ticket deals and announcements being made regarding tie-up with 2 different Russian companies in a span of 24 hours. Today we saw a tie-up being announced with Russian missile maker Alman's Ante, and this tie-up is not only to make missiles but also for making radars. We understand that this tie-up will manufacture a Tor-1M missile, and of course look at other offset orders emanating from other MOD deals in the country. So that is one. Yesterday we saw Reliance Defense announce another tie-up, this time with the Russian warship manufacturer USC. This tie-up which was announced yesterday will basically seek to build 4 Talwar class frigates in India, and in addition to that it will also seek to retrofit 35 naval ships, Indian Navy ships in the Pipavav shipyard. So in a span of 24 hours, 2 important deals being announced at a time when the Indian Prime Minister is in Russia having dialogue with his Russian counterpart Putin on important deals both in the defense sector as well as on trade and investment issues. With that, it's back to you.
Ritu, appreciate you joining us. It's not just Reliance Infra, and by the way, that stock was higher by over 7% today, but also Pipavav Defense, which was in focus on the back of this deal. Remember, Reliance Infra holds a 35% stake in Pipavav, so that stock was closed at the upper circuit today, finally closing 16 rupees higher. But Netta, the big story from the Delhi government.
That's right, Shireen. It has come out with a detailed notification on the odd-even plan for vehicles in the national capital. And while there's an exhaustive list of exemptions for VIPs, women travelling alone and two-wheelers, more than 1 million cars will have to stay away from the capital street. So what are the options that those in Delhi and its suburbs have come 1st of January 2016? Meghnad Bose tells us more in this special story.
Today in Delhi, because of air pollution, there is at least 1 death per hour due to air pollution related diseases.
सरकार initiatives ले सकती है, लेकिन जब तक सब लोग मिलके उसमें पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करेंगे, तब तक उसका समाधान नहीं निकल सकता.
An alternate day ban on private vehicles, a 2,000 rupee fine for violations. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal seems to know that the stakes to curbing pollution are at an all-time high. But with top functionaries of the state and VIPs not included in the list.
Only women vehicles or only women plus kids below 12 years. शुरू करते वक्त अभी इसमें two-wheelers नहीं है.
Is it one exemption too many?
One that we are very unhappy about is the exemption to two-wheelers, for the simple reason that two-wheelers are one of the most polluted segment in the city. And if we take them out, it is going to reduce the effectiveness of the program and compromise the impact on air quality.
Come January 2016 though, what are people's alternatives? Will the city's public transport system be able to cope? The DTC needs an additional 6,000 buses to carry the burden of the odd-even rule. And it's leasing 4,000 buses from private owners and 2,000 from schools. Apart from the bus services, an already crowded Delhi metro will have greater frequency of trains operating during the scheme. But sources from the DMRC tell us it cannot increase the fleet size as manufacturing new trains will take up to 2 years. The DMRC will also have to pull out trains from its maintenance reserve during the scheme. Sensing the opportunity, the private sector is rushing in. Taxi aggregators Ola and Uber have announced carpooling services in the National Capital Region. Companies providing shuttle services have also forayed into the market, including one solely for women. And ride-sharing apps like BlaBlaCar offer car owners the chance to connect with others looking to travel on the same route. Arvind Kejriwal's announcement hasn't entirely dissipated the worries on implementation of the scheme, though the real answer that this new year will provide is whether Delhiites take with the rising number of alternatives in front of them and give up travelling in private vehicles. In New Delhi, with video journalist Ravinder, this is Meghnad Bose.
Arvind Kejriwal did say this is only for a trial period from the 1st to 15th of January and if successful can be implemented in later months. CNBC TV 18's Shweta Kothari meanwhile spoke to the Delhi Transport Minister Gopal Rai early in the day. Here's that conversation.
हमारी अपील है कि आप अपने किसी न किसी को अगर देखते हैं अगल बगल तो उन्हें आप जरूर टोकें। आरडब्ल्यूए के लोग अपने मोहल्ले में इसके लिए माहौल बनाएं और उसके बाद अगर सड़क पर आते हैं तो पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट को हम लोग इसके लिए ऑथराइज कर रहे हैं। ट्रांसपोर्ट डिपार्टमेंट का जो इन्फोर्समेंट विंग है उसको हम इसके लिए ऑथराइज कर रहे हैं। डिविजनल कमिश्नर अलग अलग लोगों को जो अधिकारियों को ऑथराइज करेंगे वो भी इसका चालान करेंगे। मोटर व्हीकल एक्ट के तहत अधिक 2000 रुपए का हम लोग उनको ऊपर पेनल्टी लगाने जा रहे हैं।
So Delhi's tryst with the odd and even scheme will start from the 1st of January 2016. And staying with the capital, BJP veterans L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, Shantakumar and Yashwant Sinha, who've been vocal against the party leadership, went into a huddle. This after suspended BJP leader Kirti Azad sought the Prime Minister and the Margdarshak Mandal's intervention over his suspension. Sources have told Network 18 that the veterans feel the charges against the Finance Minister in the DDCA controversy must be investigated. Azad on his part has asked the Prime Minister to step in and say why he was wrong in highlighting corruption in the Delhi Cricket Association.
आज मैं भाई नरेंद्र मोदी जी से कहूंगा कि इसमें अवश्य घुसें, आएं, बीच में देखें और बताएं कि मेरी गलती क्या है.
So Kirti Azad continues his battle, and Arun Jaitley has lashed out at the opposition, especially the Congress party, saying its role for the last 2 sessions has been to merely disrupt Parliament, taking a view where he says that those in powerful positions need to act with restraint. The Finance Minister has lamented the drastic fall in what he sees in parliamentary decorum, saying no discourse can be couched in vulgar language. In what can be seen as a more nuanced attack on the upper house of Parliament, he says referring everything to a standing committee has effectively been weakened, and that has weakened the process in the upper house. Not just that, he's also lashed out at the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi. He says functionaries of the Delhi government and its supporters have lowered the level of political discourse and are relying heavily on general falsehood without ever stating the specific. He adds that it is time that public opinion expresses its outrage against the lowering of the level of public discourse. Now, time for us to take a break here on India Business Hour, but around the corner,
hype the issue up so much.
Former TRAI Chairman Rahul Kullar says the furor over call drops makes a mountain out of a molehill. More from that exclusive when we return.
CNBC TV 18, celebrating 16 years of business leadership.